My scene partner's almost here. I'm so excited to film with them. Wait, what's this? Fuck me!
You rang?
Hey folks, Max here. And I'm pretty glad that I left OnlyFans in the dust a very long time ago. Sadly, not all are as lucky as me. Recently, OnlyFans has stated that on October 1st, 2021, other than nudes, you can't post sexual content on their platform.
4 to 6 days later.
The plot fucking thickens, y'all, because OnlyFans just released a statement suspending the October 2021 change. Does that render this entire video forfeit? No. Should I go back to OnlyFans? No. Regardless of their decision to flip-flop, don't let OnlyFans gaslight you. They didn't even apologize for what they fucking did, and they expect us to all flood back to their site. So many people have lost subscribers during this time, already deleted their accounts, so they lost their entire account. They showed their entire ass and were 100% fine with destroying all of our livelihoods for fun and profit. Especially with MasterCard on one side saying that they're lying, and OnlyFans saying that MasterCard's lying, and I don't trust either, to be fair. But within not trusting either of them, that probably means we should not go back to OnlyFans.
Now back to the show.
A lot of talk has gone around about investment and reappraisal, but that's a minuscule part of it. The bigger player is MasterCard, of which, despite their name, isn't kinky at all. And this is evident in email correspondence with OnlyFans. Due to the size and rapid growth of the OnlyFans platform, I wonder who led to that growth, where creators have earned over $5 billion since inception, we must increasingly rely on large banking institutions and payment processors to facilitate payments between fans and creators. The new rules are necessary to comply with the requirements of these financial institutions, and they are the only way to ensure the long-term sustainability of OnlyFans. They don't name names, but in April, MasterCard updated their terms and services for adult content selling sites, making it so adult content sites have to verify all users in all scenes, including live streams. Which OnlyFans does have. To sign up, you must produce ID, selfie with ID, and tax forms. When uploading porn, you have to send IDs, selfie with IDs, and model releases to OnlyFans. In fact, OnlyFans even had a weird rule in their TOS that made it so you could only upload content with other verified OnlyFans models. If this sounds familiar to you, then you may be remembering the Visa MasterCard decision that forced Pornhub to purge, millions upon millions of videos. But why? Because one of their investors, Bill Ackerman, was worried about sex trafficking on Pornhub. In fact, he was so worried about sex trafficking, he went out of his way to make sure his wife wasn't implicated in it when she gave money to Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe think about that before listening to a shadowy anti-porn, anti-LGBTQ, anti-Semitic organization. Additionally, this doesn't do anything to stop sex trafficking. Sex trafficking has been banned on these platforms since their inception, and obviously things can get past TOS. I do it all the time. But all other social media sites also have a problem with sex trafficking, and none of them are targeted the same way that sites like OnlyFans are. So what does this mean? For many sex workers, it's going to be a very hard time, especially with those without backups. So if you're a fan, support your faves. Like, retweet, comment, give to their Cash Apps, stay subscribed to their OnlyFans until they choose where to go. If they do have other platforms, subscribe to those. And subscribe to their YouTube channels. But if you're a fan or a civilian, what we call non-sex workers, and you're sitting there thinking, well, why should I care? Because it's a puritanical overreach. Because there are 2 million people scrambling where to make up this lost income. Because it's OnlyFans today, but as soon as it's gone, where will they go next? And if we don't exist, who will make those 30-second clips that you get off to? Seriously though, support your sex workers, the full videos are worth it. If you need help picking out another site, consider watching my What Fan Site Do I Join video after this one. Or if you're in Las Vegas, you can either give or receive mutual aid in your community through Sex Worker Aid Vegas. But this is just another nail in the coffin for online sex work, which, might I remind you, is one of the lowest risk versions of sex work. And when you push sex workers off the internet, you're pushing them underground and opening them up to a whole host of problems. like the increase in STI and HIV transmission, the increase in sexual and physical violence, and ultimately, death. It has been shown time and time again that these card companies can put the squeeze on big sites like OnlyFans, Pornhub, and Xtube, RIP. Between card companies, legislation like Sesta Fosta, and the forever looming CC, we are more and more in danger of losing our livelihoods. So what can we do? Collectivize. This is part of a larger issue where workers no longer act as a collective, especially in North America, where the focus is more on individualism and othering yourself from your peers. This division leads to stagnation or, worse, declining of your rights as a worker, from wages, legislation, benefits, etc., or, in our case, complete obliteration of our jobs. Collectivism would give us more say in what these sites do. A mass exodus from OnlyFans is a great way to stick it to them, but we need to organize this further now. With work, we could translate this into higher payout percentages, better legislation for workers and sex workers specifically. Additionally, collectivism benefits everyone, including those not involved in the collectivist action. Considering recent news topics, I'm sure that you've picked up that I'm talking about collective bargaining and unionization. Now, if you're in the know, the APAG, or the Adult Performance Artists Guild, is the biggest US-based sex worker union, and they did meet and talk with MasterCard. But Max, then how can you say that unions will help us when the biggest union failed? Despite being the biggest union, at the time of this recording, they only have slightly over 1,000 members. Combine that with how defanged union action in the US is, unless you're in the police union and then they want their unionized cops to have nukes. Come on, Jack. Metal Gear shoots nukes.
No. A nuclear missile on Rex?
Unions of any size are a threat, but the bigger the union, the bigger the threat. Hence why Amazon throws so much money on making sure their employees do not unionize, as well as many other large companies, because they know the threat that unions pose to them, and their profit margins. Like, even an OnlyFans can acknowledge, sex work is work, and a big part of that is that sex workers are workers. Meaning that we are entitled to good wages, safe workplaces, and other protections that workers are guaranteed. Collectivism is the only way to stop them from legislating our work out of public existence. I can stand on my soapbox all day and yell, and if you've been following me for any period of time, you know I do exactly that. But this is serious. We need to organize before we all lose. In the description, there are some links that will point you to APAG, but also other organizations that can help. I can't speak for all of them, but unions like the IWW will teach you how to organize, and then you can make your own union.
With blackjack and
sex workers.
Remember to like, subscribe, ring bell, and have a great rest of your day or whenever you're watching this. Okay, bye!